and how it's all came about, and see what's going to happen next with Chris Jericho. So thank you all for coming out. Like, subscribe to the Locker Room. This is very, very exclusive, very breaking. But with that being said, let's get into it. Let's cover everything that's been going on with Chris Jericho as of late. So it shows right here. It says allegations surface regarding Chris Jericho and Kylie Ray. Chris Jericho allegedly has skeletons in his closet. So the question is, what happened with Chris Jericho? Let's see what happened with him. It said Chris Jericho is a legendary pro wrestler. He was responsible for much of AEW's early rise in popularity. On the day of AEW World's End, which is tonight, by the way. This is World's End tonight. Crazy this happened on the same day. A troubling allegation dropped about him that could paint him in an entirely different light. Let's see what that means. Chris Jericho and non-disclosure agreements. Chris Jericho and CM Punk and Ace Steel's attorney Stephen P. New recently had it out on social media. The whole ordeal surrounded the non-disclosure agreements that everyone involved in Brawl Out signed. Chris Jericho claimed that he never signed an NDA for this. Then Stephen P. New fight. Well, this is also going on too. They said then Stephen P. New fired back, said there's a confidentiality clause as an AEW play handbook. I don't adhere to play handbook and never had one of those in 4 years of working for AEW. Also, I've never signed an NDA in my life ever. So stop trying to be a bully and make egotistical fantasy brags for your clients. Start doing some research. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy with Chris Jericho. See what's going on here. Tola, TO1, salute to you, bro. Appreciate you coming out. Let's see what else going on with Chris Jericho. This is not looking good for Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho, we know, is a legend, but let's read the rest of this. It says alleged skeletons in Chris Jericho's closet. House of Wrestlers Nick Hausman later called Chris Jericho out for having people sign the NDAs himself. Then got Hausman a subsequent block on the former AEW World Champion. Nick Hausman later had Stephen P. New on his Rumor and Amino podcast for an interview about everything that was going on with the situation. Then a clip of Nick Hausman from that rumor went viral. In the clip, Hausman had made mentions of skeletons in Chris Jericho's closet. He also brought Harvey Weinstein name to the situation as comparison to Chris Jericho's situation. Has it got that real that it's to the extent of that? Oh man, if that's the case, AEW World's ended today. AEW World ended today, the event, but it ended for Jericho's World too. That's the crazy part. Let's read more of this. And I quote, there are issues with Chris behind the scenes where I know a lot of people who were hurt by Chris and his actions. You know, it's very uncomfortable for me to see him lauded like this and only having to focus that, because I do think there's a lot of questionable stories. 1 second here. Okay, questionable stories about Chris that will find their way out over time with people are ready to tell those stories that will cast him in a very different light. I mean, Harvey Weinstein won a lot of Oscars. Harvey Weinstein produced a lot of popular films. Now he's in jail. I'm not saying it's going to happen to Chris, but the narrative can be quickly turned if you hide a lot of skeletons in your closet. Now, this is the podcast here. Take a moment. I'm going to play that right now, and I'll let you guys listen to it here.
Obviously, the Jericho part of it, for a lot of reasons, stood out to me. You know, one of the things that, you know, is so disconcerting to me about kind of the universal praise of Jericho, and I'm not going to deny the points that Max made about, you know, the impact Chris had in the early days of AEW, but when you have that kind of clout and you have that kind of power, it's very important to use that responsibly. And I just, you know, there are issues with Chris behind the scenes where I know of a lot of people who have been hurt by Chris and his actions. And, you know, it's very uncomfortable to me to see him lauded as often as he is, with only the focus on that, because I do think that there's a lot of questionable stories about Chris that will find their way out over time, and when people are ready to tell those stories, that will cast him in a very different light. I mean, look, Harvey Weinstein won a lot of Oscars. Harvey Weinstein produced a lot of very popular films. Harvey Weinstein is now in jail. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Chris, but your narrative can very quickly turn if you're hiding a lot of skeletons in your closet.
And you heard that from the man himself, Nick Hausman, based off the article I just read. So this podcast here is what they were referring to that's went viral. And the pure speculation say it might be referring to Kylie Rae. So if you don't know who Kylie Rae looks like, I know she's not a popular wrestler. I have a picture of her, and I'll show her right now. This is Kylie Rae. She's a former AEW wrestler who asked for a release. She wasn't with AEW that long. She wrestled for a little bit, but these are some pictures of Kylie Rae. She's the one that said that she may have alleged had the issues with Chris Jericho, and it led to her getting her asked for a release, and it was granted. So that's Kylie Rae. I know she's very young. I believe she just had a baby not too long ago, but I don't know much about her. But what I can do is this. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up some information about Kylie Rae right now. Let's pull that up about her so we get some more information of who this is. Okay, this says Kylie Rae right here. If you could see her, she used to work for AEW. This is the same woman here. Her name was Smiley Kylie Rae, looked to be a promising babyface star for AEW early on, and she seemed primed to become a star based on early crowd reactions. In reality, though, she became one of the very first names. Wow, very first names. So that shows that she wasn't there long. Let's see. Let me highlight that. Very first name. So this is going back to the 2019. Very first names who parted ways with the company. She requested her release, and it was granted. Rae has been since shown up in the likes of Impact Wrestling, NWA, and as a WWE extra. She has been competing on the independent scene in 2023, which is this year. This year is pretty much over. Though her appearances and matches have been sporadic as time has gone on. So she was in AEW at the very beginning of this, very beginning of the time the AEW started the company. And like I said, this is another photo of her. But she was not there long. They're saying that this is who had the allegations against Chris Jericho. And this is strange that this is happening to Jericho, especially at this point in his career. He has so much behind him. But like I said, I'm going to go back to the main article, and I just want to show who Kylie Rae is, because she's not, like I said, not a popular wrestler. So let me pull that up right now. Pull it back up. This is crazy. Wow. Okay, so the rest of the article, when it says pure speculation, he might refer to Kylie Rae. It says, so here's the deal. You don't quit the hottest Fed going today, AEW, without reason. I have for people in the know that Kylie was asked to go to Chris Jericho's room. Ouch. With the understanding that others would be there. When she got there, it was just him. He made a pass at her. No other details are given, and she freaked out. Then it says here, a short time, Chris Jericho and Kylie Rae. A short time later, after that clip went viral, X account reposted the older tweet that didn't get much traction at the time. Tweet implied that Kylie Rae may have left AEW due to Chris Jericho. And this is the tweet right here. Now it says here, original accuser of David. It said there's history with his accused behavior, by the way. So it showed Chris Jericho has history with his behavior. This is not looking good. This is not looking good at all. Like I said, it seems like everything's ended for Chris Jericho. Let's see what this says here too. Original accuser of David Starr, implying that there are potential accusations against Chris Jericho. It says it right here. Sometimes I stop to wonder how many women out there are wondering if it's safe to post about Chris Jericho yet. Tori at Slade Mysterio, June 22nd, 2020. And today's December 29th, 2023. So this is what 3.5 years ago. A little over 3 years ago. It says another tweet. Okay, another tweet that was posted about women who are waiting until it's safe to speak about Chris Jericho. That Kylie reacted to it. She posted a heart emoji. The tweet I just read, this is the same woman as I showed. I showed the information about her, showed a picture of her, showed the history. She put a heart emoji there. And this is her again. Why did Kylie Ray leave AEW? Okay, here's more information. During the All Out 2019 media scrum, Sean Ross Sapp asked Tony Khan. Now, Sean Ross Sapp is from Fightful Select. He asked Tony Khan about Kylie Ray's stats with the company. Reports have previously broken saying that she requested a release from the company, but no other information was known at the time. Tony Khan confirmed in 2019 that Kylie Ray is no longer with AEW. He said that she asked for a release and it was granted. The split was also said to be super amicable one. So there's no beef between them. But this is him going more depth into it. She is no longer with us. We had so many announcements going to the Battle Royal. She asked for her release and we granted it. She called me and asked if she could be released from her contract. It's pretty simple. I said, yeah. I asked if everything was okay. She said, yeah. She just didn't want to be with the company anymore. We talked about it and it was very simple. So, yeah. This is from 2019. September 1st, 2019. Let's see if we can play this.
Any update on the status of Kylie Ray? She's been a little bit absent lately.
She's no longer with us. We had so many things going into so many announcements going into that role, but she asked for a release and we granted it. So she called me and asked if she could be released from her contract, and it was pretty simple. I said yeah, and I asked her if everything was okay, and she said yeah. She just didn't want to be with the company anymore, and we talked about it, and it was very simple. And so yeah, she's not on her own.
Seem amicable.
Super amicable. Okay. She's a very nice person.
So that's Tony Khan's response to it. Super amicable. That's a new word. Never heard that before. Let's see what you guys in the ring have to say about this. What are your guys' comments on this? How does this look on AEW after this, for that matter? But let's see. WWE has been shady since the WWF days, bro. True. That's very true. Back to the Golden Age era with Vince McMahon, or maybe before that. WWF for life. Yeah, but see, this is Chris Jericho doing this in AEW. This situation has nothing to do with WWE or WWF. This is all AEW actually. So they actually out of this. This is involving this company. Yeah, WWE has no ties to this. This is all AEW. I mean, I'm not denying that WWE or WWF at the time had shady business as well. That's very true. But this particular story is involving AEW because Chris Jericho's an AEW employee, not a WWE wrestler. And for those who don't know, this is Chris Jericho, 8-time world champion. He calls himself the Ocho, the king of the world, La Champion. This is who this is involving, Mr. Chris Jericho. And in his future, this is a bad look on his name. Very bad look on Chris Jericho's name. And my question is, will Chris Jericho's career ever be the same again? I mean, that's the question after hearing all this. That's what we want to know.
Be the same again.
Yeah, so that's the thing about Chris Jericho. Will his career ever be the same after this whole situation? Now, I know there has to be more information to be displayed with Chris Jericho involving this whole story, but if it's already trending, it's already all over the place regarding this story. Kylie Ray was there at the very beginning of AEW, and she left. Now, what happens if more women speak out against Chris Jericho? Because we saw the tweets, someone else has said something, and they say how much more women's going to speak about it. So that's what I'm saying. Well, we got a comment here. None of your business, said my dude. Chris Jericho's a fraud, and sending tweets at 4:03 a.m. calling folks disgusting is disgusting. Everyone know he's a Trump liar, and he and his wife are both cultists. Is that right? I didn't know that. None of your business. Dang, he calls people said tweets at 4 o'clock in the morning, and him and his wife both do shady stuff. I didn't know that, brother, or sister, male or female. I don't want to offend you. I don't know what your gender is. I don't know, but none of your business. That's a good information. I did not know that he did this at 4:03 in the morning. That's wild. That is wild, man. My question, none of your business. How long has Chris Jericho been doing all this crazy tweets at 4 a.m.? How long has that been going on? If you can answer that for me in the chat. How long that's been going on? Because I ain't know Chris Jericho was doing all that crazy stuff and got down like that. Wesley Smith. AEW sucks. Yeah, AEW's not looking good right now. It's definitely not looking good. And I was going to ask, after all this, how does this look for AEW after this whole situation? This is not good at all for Chris Jericho or the company. We already got the plethora of injuries in AEW. We already got Adam Cole, Kenny Omega hurt, MJF as world champion going through injury, and it seemed like it's something up with the up in the women's division, because all the women have a problem with AEW. It's like an issue. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up that article back of what I had earlier, and it has a long list of women who were with AEW is no longer with the company. Let me pull that up now, because it seemed like the history is continue to follow more and more history of this. Let's see.